African time zone. I remain Chigozendi, the host anchor, bringing your way this in-depth analysis this evening, trusting that this will be a very interactive and expository uh, moment for all who will tune in. Please kindly hit the like buttons while you join us. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for standing in. Today promises to be one of those exciting moments, honestly, as we have to estray and, of course, analyze very important and urgent issue of concern, which was raised by P2B, His Excellency, the former governor of Anambra State, and also a candidate in the presidential election that was conducted in 2023, which, according to the INEC report, he emerged as the third person after the declaration of the election results. Well, we understood that the election was mixed with so many contradictions, vening the procedure of the election, which, of course, people were not happy with the development of such elections. To some, it was a surprise to them, but to people like us, we understood that Nigeria was designed to run this way. It was not intended to better the lot of the citizens. Unfortunately, I told people that among these candidates, the major three candidates in the presidential race, P2B has a better chances in terms of competence, credibility, and of course, exposure. And being that the head or the edge is still on his side, he could deliver if given the opportunity. But the foundation, the issue is that even though he may win, he may get the vote of the majority of the masses who are looking for a turnaround, who are looking for a new wave of change, who are tired of suffering and smiling. They are looking for an opportunity. P2B might not be the best, but among the three major contestants, he promises to be, of course, a more sellable candidate. I told people that, but that notwithstanding, P2B will not be given the opportunity to serve Nigeria because the system has been hijacked by the power, of course, drunk cabals, and they will not want anybody who may want to or show any tendency or possibility of dislodging them from the power they have held tenaciously to themselves. So they will want to remain within the corridor of power, and if you don't play with them, of course, throw the same card with them, you will not be given the opportunity. Some could not understand because they don't think ahead of time. They don't understand in-depth analysis of what transpires within the Nigerian political space. And P2B came in with the, of course, propaganda of from consumption to production, which was a sellable idea and a welcome one. But unfortunately, those people who has made Nigeria ungovernable, who has made Nigeria impoverished, has risen for that so that they will continue to rip up the Nigerian state and keep the entire masses, of course, in the state of penury so that they will remain subjected and, of course, could do their bidding. If they are giving 5 naira or they are giving 1,000, you see people, or a derica of rice or a derica of beans, you see them jumping up and down, giving 10,000, 5,000. Where are those 5 and 10,000? The same people came up singing a bit mpami. I am hungry, I am hungry, we are hungry. They are hungry. So it means the 1,000, the 100,000 could not sustain them for just within the space of 6 months. We are just talking about the next 4 years, the next 8 years, and you are still shouting the bimpami just about 3 months or less than that. You are not serious. You must be kidding. So this is just the genesis. By the time you get to Leviticus and you opens the numbers, the book of Numbers, then you'll be counting, of course, the destruction you have attracted to yourselves. I'm talking to those who believe on your mandate we shall stand. And now they are standing on the mandate, but the mandate will no longer carry them. The mandates have brought more destructions and pains and agony because of the system. What am I saying now? I'm just laying a preliminary foundation for our discussion today. It promises to be an interesting one and an expository one. I'm very annoyed if you, of course, can see that, you can read that from my expressions, but I will be guided. I would like to maintain, of course, my emotions and keep it within what could be acceptable. Just pardon me, but you have to follow up so that we discuss this and analyze, of course, the implications of this development. Of recent, P2B, who happens to be, of course, an elder brother, of course, as far as an Igbo is concerned, we respect our elders, of course, without any prejudice, without any pretense. And when the elders, of course, seems not to be in terms with the realities, I mean, you begin to see my people do say, ewu adịghị anọ okenye anaghị anọ n'ụlọ ewu ama. But when that becomes the case, of course, the younger one can call the attention of the elderly, telling them that this is not the right way. Of course, you can't continue to keep silence or living in denial while disaster is looming. So that is what I am going to discuss today. For the obedience, of course, they have the Twitter space and all that. Follow me as we navigate through this. I believe at the end of the day, you will logically agree with me that my position is unique and superior. Now, having experienced this, of course, after the declaration of the winner or supposed winner, of course, in the 2023 election, P2B said, well, let us go to court because he has confidence in the judicial process. Let us go to court. When people want to troop out to demand, of course, to reclaim their supposed mandate, they said everybody should calm down, that we are a democratic process, and let's take, of course, exhaust all the legal opportunities that this provides, the window provides. Of course, he went there, he gathered all the evidence he could gather, called all the subpoena or whatever, supre. At the end of the day, what happens? They told him, you are just wasting your time. It's just an effort in futility. We have bought over the judiciary, we have bought over the INEC, we have bought over the system, and of course, Miloko, we are in control of virtually everything. It has been well schemed out, programmed, and planned out. It is just waiting for time to distract the people. Go to virtually vote, that your vote counts. At the end of the day, people were battered. Majority of them, of course, were youth who has already given up on this system called Nigeria. They thought perhaps this might be an opportunity, of course, to rewrite history, to change the narrative. Of course, most of them in their millions, if not tens of millions, participated in the registration process, got their PVCs, and some, of course, PVCs were denied for obvious reasons are best known to them. Some were burnt up and some were even discarded, and the owners could not get it. This is the development, and this is a situation which, unfortunately, most of them who have wanted to exercise their franchise as, of course, part of the democratic process, unfortunately, was denied the right to do so. And as if that was not enough, what we saw in Lagos was just a very dehumanizing and a very unfortunate experience where people were forced not to participate deliberately, and the institution of the state, even the military, the security, the police, were just helpless because of the powers that be who are in control. Everybody seems, of course, to have been silenced and swallowed up. Eventually, they had their way. Eventually, people were oppressed and suppressed. People could not come. Those who dared coming out, of course, was given the beating of their life. And you know what that means? People sustained injuries. Some were killed, and some sustained degrees of course, injuries and all that. But for us, we are able to come out because we have the boldness, and it is all right, regardless of however, of course, they have used thugs to 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 distort all the process just for the reason to grab the power. Then they have eventually grabbed the power. P2B was, of course, rubbished and was dumped somewhere, of course, and this is the reality before us. And unfortunately, he might be considering, of course, to come out again for the presidential election 2027 if there is anything like Nigeria by then. I am telling you, how the way Nigeria is going, if you are not careful, of course, Nigeria will not even survive the 4 years, let alone talking about 2023, I mean 2027. What am I trying, of course, to drive home? You can agree with me, of course, with most of what I have said was before the public domain, even those in diaspora. Some traveled all the way, fly in, of course, from Austria, from London, from America, just to exercise their franchise, just to make sure that Nigeria could be redeemed. Unfortunately, their hope was totally dashed. I saw some, of course, destroying their international passport, denouncing and renouncing the citizenship of Nigeria. Since if this would have happened, of course, and the people do not react, the people who already have been helpless, have been silenced with the instrumentality of the state cannot react, even when they wanted to react, which would have saved, of course, some chances of saving Nigeria. P2B, the lead, of course, master said, calm down, let's exploit the legal process. And unfortunately, the legal process messed him up, if I may use the word, messed him up and messed, of course, the obedience up. But I was telling them, most of them who cares to know or understand that, yes, he is the best among, of course, the major contestants, but will not be given the opportunity not on the basis of merit, but on the very fact that he is an Igbo man. And unfortunately, those, as my people will say, that people that hated your father, hated your mother, cannot love you. It is not possible. But Peter seems to be living in denial. Well, he was just exploring the opportunities and chances of possibly chance could happen to him. But he did not understand, of course, the history and the experience could have taught him better. Yes, he's older than I, he's my uncle, and whatever you might call him. He's well advanced, accomplished, and he have traveled wide, I mean, and near. He is a celebrated scholar and, of course, a philanthropist. I can't take that from him. But there is something fundamentally that is missing with P2B. What is that? That is what, of course, I'm going to express here. I'm going to expose here so that you will get along with me. Of course, as I do that, I've been able to lay the foundation of this discussion today. Please don't forget to hit the like button, share this video to all obedient family platforms, and of course, share it video. Let's get about 100,000 people watching exactly what we are discussing today, because it's an exclusive interaction interview, of course, headed by Chigozie Ndibo. I am an interested candidate. I mean, I have an interest to defend in this discussion today. I have watched P2B, of course, His Excellency, if I may use the word, the former governor of Anambra State. He performed well, exceptionally, though there are challenges, there, he has his weaknesses. We have some reservations about him. During his time, some Maso people were massacred and dumped in some rivers. And of course, he never cared for that. But that is not where I'm going. Which he could not deny that. He said that he was out of the state when such happened. But when you came back, what did you do? That is fundamental. You was really out of state. But when you came back, where did you set up panels of inquiries? And what was the outcome of that particular inquiry? Where hundreds, if not thousands, of IPOP members were killed and, of course, drawn into the sea in your own state. And it appears that nothing was done. And This is about people who are fighting for their independence, who have seen that Nigeria is not a project that can work. But unfortunately, they were killed even when Peter B was the governor of Anambra State. Yes, he came out. I listened to him. He said, yes, such happens, but he was not around. Now, when you are around as the chief secretary of the state, what did you do? What were your findings? Of course, were you able to prove, of course, such circumstances and brought those perpetrators or culprits to justice and eventually compensate those who lost their life? Of course, it does not matter to him because they can go to hell because it is not his interest. But that should be a discussion for another day. I just want to remain focused, of course, on the started on this subject of discourse. Pete Toby should wise up and stop the nonsense propaganda. He has been engaged after the election or the elections are over. Let me draw your attention that Peter B, unfortunately, does not know the reason why the agitators were building up. They have seen ahead of time that Nigeria does not promise any future or better prospect for their own people and the entirety of the Nigerian masses, of course, and ethnic nationalities. They have made an informed position. The lives of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, and of course, subsequently, he was Mazi Simon Ekpa also took the place or stepped in when the main master was under incarceration, and this, of course, has been sustained. Let me come down, of course, let me come down to home now. I have been able to establish this, and you can also understand, of course, the logics and the reasonings behind the foundations I have laid. They are very clear, unambiguous, and very straight to the point. I have made this. You can go and verify what I'm saying today. Now, I will bring out the main subject of discourse. Why I said Peter Obi is the former governor of Anambra State and a candidate, a former presidential candidate. Of course, in the last 2023 elections, he lost according to the report of the Electoral Empire. But that is not where I'm going because it's not where my interest lies today. So that the people watching me could, of course, go home with something very important and well educated, educative and informative today. Now, Peter B, in his Twitter handle, which you can also verify, he said, I am compelled to address the alarming, exodus of multinational companies from Nigeria. Let me take that line again. He said, I am compelled to address the alarming exodus of multinational companies in Nigeria, from Nigeria, which has cost our nation a staggering 95 trillion in the past 5 years. Are you following me? Okay. He went further to say, just take note of that line. He went further to say, according to the New Telegraph, in the last year alone, over 10 multinationals, giants such as, GlaxoSmithKline, he mentioned them, and he went further to say Equinor, Sandiv Adventist, Boat Foods, of course, P&G Gamble, Jumia Food, PZ, Cushion, and Clean Clark, and Diageo, and others have exited Nigeria, playing early consistent reasons, giving urgent reasons why they are leaving. Now, my own concern, and a very passionate one, is this. Peter actually has acknowledged that Nigeria is not working. The Nigeria he wants to be the president, he contested to be the president, is gone already. And I was surprised that was coming as a shock to him. Up to this time, he has not left that disillusionedness that is enveloping his entire being. But Even the multinationals has understood that Nigeria is not working. He cited that he was surprised that 10 multinationals left just in the last 1 year. What is that telling you? That you are not listening to? Even when the donkeys, the horses are speaking to his ears, he is not listening. He is bent, of course, one-way traffic. He is not considering the realities on the ground. Why should they live in the first instance? And you're surprised. That's the fundamental questions you should ask. And he said, I am compelled to address the alarming exodus of multinationals that the exodus have cost Nigeria in the last 5 years 95 trillion. Since independence, they have been there. We are talking last 5 years, 95 trillion. What have they been doing? Okay, 60 years minus 95. How many years? We still have, I mean, 63 years minus 95, minus 5 years. How many remain? At least we still have 58 years to 2024. What have Nigerian government and the political leaders been doing with the money they have been making? How has they used it to develop and impact positively on the well-being or living standard of the an average Nigeria? Every time you keep up telling us that we have lost this, the one you didn't lose, what did you use it for? Okay, in the last 5 years, you have lost 95 trillion. Now, before that exodus, the last 5 years, those politicians, those demons within the corridor of power, or the political elites in general, including himself, what did he use it for? Yeah, he left some amount of money while as a governor. Now, there are more things he would have, of course, engaged with such money. He left it for another bigger thief to come and embezzle. So what impact of what need is that? You left money and another bigger thief came and stole all the money. Have you impacted even the states? That is the state of insolvency. You have caused more pain to the community or the state that would have benefited. Does it mean there are no people who are in business who would have used that money, of course, to turn around and expand the small-scale industries of businesses within Anambra, and of course, promote the living standards of the people? And you kept the money, and you should, people like Chigos Ndibo should start clapping for you. Your family is hungry, and you kept money in the bank. Unfortunately, for somebody you don't know who never labored for that to come and loot everything, and you think that is sense. You are making sense, right? We should clap for you. No, the elections are over. It is time to talk, to assess, to say the truth. How can you leave such money when Anambra, a whole Anambra, which of course is a productive state, they're into engineering and all that, cannot have a standard power generation, independent power generation that can guarantee 24 hours power supply to those, of course, sorry, to those enterprises, to those businesses within the Anambra. You're telling me go and verify. Of course, what do you have to verify? How can you leave such big money instead of releasing it to the hands of Anambrans, the small-scale businesses? Of course, let them have a way of course, reimbursing the money, and they should be monitored, and to make sure they make judicious use of those money, rather than dumping them somewhere, telling me you dump it in the bag, you dump it this in dollars and this thing. What nonsense is that? That is arrant nonsense to a critical mind thinker. Does it mean you have exhausted your ideas of what to make use, how to invest the money? Of what value is that money after you left in the last 8 years following your administration? It means that the money has been even devalued with the current situation in Nigeria, it is worthless. So if you have given people opportunity to enhance and better their life, that would have given you more credit. The elections are over now. It is now to talk to ourselves and to be honest and very, of course, plain about that. So that I don't see that as a wise, that is the poorest idea anyone can deploy. You are saving money where you have a state that needed independent power generation. You have a state that needed to expand, of course, in the capital, human capital development, creates internet opportunities or facilities that can enable the entire state to become a global internet center or hub attraction or whatever you might call it, so that you can create weight for the state and for individuals who might plug into the system. That is, by the way. Now, Peter said he was shocked. I am compelled. So he is not yet aware that Nigeria is packing up. He's not yet aware that Nigeria is not working. People are shouting from different quarters. What is that disillusionness? What is that that is giving him a fake hope that Nigeria could be redeemed? Those who have seen, of course, the late Awolowo, before his demise, he made submissions. Zik also made that broken bottle has no mequatarism. And you think because you are Peter, you are Gregory Peter, you can change what already has been predestined. Why not wise up? Why the deception? The elections are over. So even the obedience to wise up. You are thinking you didn't win the 2027, 2023 when the man in the helm of affairs now did all he could, surmount all the mountains to break through there. Even when he has less chances of clinching to the power, and you expect 2027. If eventually Nigeria, I don't think Nigeria will remain. Well, that is my own feeling, my opinion. I'm entitled to that. Because you can't continue to build on false foundation and expect it to stand. It's just a matter of time. It can collapse anytime. Nigerian structure and systems is just like a house that is built on a sand, a sandy soil. The flood can come anytime, just a matter of time. The when is unknown. It's an accident buying time to happen. So Peter to have acknowledged and admitted that Nigeria is not working. If the Nigeria is working, those multinationals who are interested in business, in making business, they're into business to make profits. They're into business to have a return. Now, with the multi-billion dollars, they came to Nigeria, but they have been frustrated. They have seen that continuing with this system will ruin all their money, so they have to, of course, fly away. And you're not saying, how can these multinationals, heavy, giant multinationals company leaving the shores of Nigeria, why can't they leave? Why can't they leave, Mr. Petrobi? Is Nigeria working? Or possibly it might be working for you. But they have shown you very clearly that Nigeria is not working. Nigeria is no longer insurable. If, of course, I may use insurance terms. It's no longer insurable. It cannot, the insurance or the security of Nigeria can no longer be guaranteed. Their safety within the Nigeria, their business within the Nigeria can no longer be guaranteed. That's why they are leaving. If you don't know, let me tell you, sing it to your ear so that you can sing very well. You're asking, where are they living? Why are they living? You cannot build independent power station in Anambra that can have supply constant electricity. You are telling them where are they living? Did Nigeria have robust power generation? Have they been able to solve that problem? And you ask them, where are they living? The cost of production, you don't know? What you are calculating that you have lost 95 trillion. The ones you have made before, where are they? And Nigeria is what it is, how it is today. People are hungry and haggard. There's no development anywhere. Look at the president, the administration of Tinubu have discovered that even ghost workers, people who have jackpot for long ago, are still, of course, under the pay list of the government, of the federal government. RNG, paddy government, paddy government. And you are telling me such, insulting the intelligence of your listeners. I thought my uncle Peter B should have exhibited some level of prudence and responsibility than this. The country you want to preside as the Nigeria, as the president, is gone. That is what they are telling you. If you don't know, you're still living in denial. But everywhere you go to jump gallivanting everywhere. Is that how you can grab power from a man who is power drunk, a man who he can sell even himself to get the power, and you want to take it from him? You must be a joker. You must be a joker. You must be mocking. I told you. And you're still joking. And this man now is the helm of affairs. Except, of course, death happens or whatever can happen to anybody. Which I don't wish him that. But whatever happens, of course, is human being. You cannot take that from him. And see how Nigeria has been plunged into abysmal decline. Insecurity is not solved. The problem of insecurity is expanding. In fact, it has widened its horizon more worse than what Buhari left. Yes. Is it the hunger in the land? United Nations reports reveals a shocking and very worrisome report about Nigeria, that Nigeria have joined Somalia. Nigeria joins Somalia in hunger-ridden country. Acute, extremely food insecurity has enveloped Nigeria. That unfortunately, Somalia will be a child's play to what may happen to hit Nigeria. Reason for hunger, and of course, where there is hunger, where there is people could no longer fend for themselves, people could no longer survive. What happens? To make the network stable. Sorry for the cutting in. That is one of those things that even in this 21st century, where most African countries have robust internet facilities, could access that, of course, without all these interruptions and all that. You see, that is quite unfortunate. That is quite unfortunate. So for Peter B to say, what exactly impression is it trying to make, that he is not aware that Nigeria is in the state of collapse? Of course, one of the financial analysts, or I think in this administration or so, he said, Akiremi by name, he said that Nigeria is in the state of bankruptcy, state of insolvency. It appears in the national dailies. In a layman language, that implies that Nigeria is packing up. That is what he said. In a layman language, something that, of course, somebody who did not have opportunity to, of course, see the four walls of education or class, tell them, say, Nigeria, they pack up. That is what he means. The economy of Nigeria is packing up. It won't collapse. That is what he said. at the verge of collapse, at the state of insolvency, and you know, here I be not go school. So all these things that is happening, you are still asking where are they living? You should be in a better position to understand why they are living, why things are not working. Unfortunately, will not work because the system, of course, cannot allow it to work. And those within the corridor of power, unfortunately, are the monsters who will never want it to work for the benefit of all. Of course, it's working for them. They have their way, they have everything at their disposal and their chronics and all that. Well, that is, if that is good for them, unfortunately, the masses are helpless. And the likes of Peter B, who should have informed the masses of the pending doom, is there living in total denial and self-deception. That is self-deception. You are moving from IDPs, one IDPs to IDP. What is the implication? How can a sovereign nation, having her own citizens displaced within her own territory, not because there is an external aggression. This is internal conflict, and you cannot manage it. You have IDPs, virtually the entire northern states and some parts of the eastern states. And of course, in the west, most of the communities have fled, abandoning their homes and whatever, their farms to the Fulanese. Nobody is talking about that. And you're still asking, why are they living? I wouldn't want to use a harsh word. I don't want to insult this person. We are just talking. I wish he can get access to this video and listen to it. Enough, and enough of that. Enough is enough. Stop gallivanting. I mean, parading yourself here and there. People are no longer interested in that. If the election is conducted, the next opportunity, you also lose. Because my people do say, na ọnwụ gburu nwa oke, nne oke adịghị ekwu ụmụ ya chaa anya. Ọ na-ekwu ụmụ ya mepe anya. Ijiji na-ana anụ ntị na-eso ozu kpuru n'ili. That's my local dialect. How long will you understand the handwriting? What is playing out? Even though you come as the president of Nigeria, as the level of extent of damage, of course, you cannot do anything different. You might just be trying to go around the symptoms. The fundamental problem with Nigeria, what has kept Nigeria in the state of motionless despair and retrogressiveness, is foundational. So when Daddy Adeboye said that Nigeria problem is spiritual, I do agree with him to a greater extent. It is foundational. When the foundation is destroyed, what shall the righteous do? The righteous, within the context of this discussion, means people who are willing to do the right thing the right way, is to set a good precedence. People who are ready, of course, to ensure there is equity, fairness, and justice for all, that everybody is equal before the law. The equitability, of course, of everyone before the law should not be compromised. So if the foundation is destroyed, what shall the righteous do? If Peter B is claiming to be one of the righteous, people who will do the right thing, I believe he should have been engaging his representatives, his senators within Anambra State, let them sponsor bills so that the fundamental issues should be addressed. Because even though you might bring even anybody, you'll still mess up at the end of the day because the system was not designed to work. I've listened to some legal luminaries Ozokome and the rest of them, they said, they affirm that the constitution under which Nigeria operates is a fraudulent one, is an illegal constitution constituted by few greedy individuals whose intention was to hijack the power, of course, and control the resources as much as they can, and hold people perpetually under bondage and slavery. Unfortunately, P2B indirectly is singing their praise. They're singing their praises. Asking where are they living? You don't know where they are living. How much is exchange rate today? How much is a bag of rice? And you're asking them where are they living? How much is the cost of fuel and diesel? I have run some production, water productions. I know how much just to run, to produce water, sachet water. I know sometimes if there is no light, how much we consume on diesel. That was when the world was still good. Nigeria was still, it's not even in coma. It's not in life support. Then they were selling diesel. Was it how much then, sir? Was it 220 or 2 something? I know how much we consume. Now, you are compared to now. That's that time a fuel was about 87 naira or so. And now you are still talking while they are living. Why would they leave? They're in the business to make profits. It is a vote of no confidence on the system called Nigeria. On the contraction, they are passing a vote of no confidence in the country you claim you are running for the office of the president, and you don't understand why they are passing this vote of confidence on you and your so-called Nigeria. You don't know. Let me read it again. Maybe you may want to understand, of course, why I read through in between the lines. He said, I am compelled, you are compelled to address the alarming exodus of multinational companies from Nigeria. You are compelled to address. So after addressing now, did it change anything? Is it on the Twitter page? You are addressing it. How do you address it? How do you engage the people? How do you engage the obedience? Who unfortunately, most of them, majority of them, are leaving the shores of Nigeria at any given opportunity. People who have given up in the Nigerian project, who has lost hope in Nigeria. How do you address this? How do you get them engaged with the political, with the economic process of rebuilding? How? I would have expected him to say the reason why they are leaving is because things are not working. The foundation is faulty. So how can you tackle the foundation? How can you address those problems? Which is fundamental. You cannot leave Christian issues untouched while disaster looms, and you think you can make a headway. So they are living. I'm here to tell you and to respond to you so that you will now understand why they are living. They are living because Nigeria is failing. It is a vote of no confidence in the Nigerian system, not just about the citizens now. Majority of the citizens have given up on Nigeria. Now, multinationals are now coming out to tell you we have also joined the majority of Nigerians to pass a vote of no confidence in the integrity, in the continuity, in the existence of the Nigerian system, that Nigeria is no longer viable for them to run their business. with uncertainty, with insecurity, with, of course, the the wavering instability of on the part of the policy, of course, and whatever physical and monetary policies does not guarantee that trust. And they're pulling their billions of dollars. I learned that part of Guinness they are now installing some plants in Togo and Ghana. Of course, that is good luck for them because those places, they've been able to, of course, maintain some level of stability in terms of power generation. The big brother Africa is still trapped in a very big mess, and some are still living in denial. The likes of His Excellency Peter B is quite unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate. So this is why the 10 multinationals, these are multinationals. It means if 10 multinationals have left the shores of Nigeria in the last 1 year, do you know how many people has been retrenched? Do you know how the level of poverty has been widened? More people has lost their job. Most people have lost their source of livelihoods, which is not even sustainable in the first instance. They are just managing, not that they are just living. They are not living. They are just existing, trying to cover up, trying to make sure they leave the house every day. And of course, at the end of the 30-day cycle, we found out that most of them, of course, will be indebted. Most of them will borrow money to go to work. But now they have lost everything. Let's assume that those multinationals have employed maybe 5,000 Nigerians. Let's just assume at the least. And considering, of course, the chain, the, the productivity or the chain link to other businesses, just like P&G, if they have lost, if they have wind up, those merchants or those dealers or sub-dealers or retailers will also go out of market. So you can see now that over 50 million of Nigerians have been directly or indirectly affected by the exodus. Who is replacing them? Of course, in every reaction, there is an equal and opposite reaction. People are replacing them. Who are they? The Boko Haram, the Islamic State of West African province are replacing them. Banditry, kidnapping are replacing them. Is another wave of income. Moral decadence, promiscuity, and whatever you call them. People are now giving themselves, their bodies, of course, for survival. Moral decadence is replacing them because when people are not engaged and when there is not even social security to cushion the effect of those multinationals that are living without apology, they are living without looking back, they are living without considering whatever might happen to those that retrench. Unfortunately, the labor force in Nigeria have no defense. Nobody is speaking for them. Most of them are under contracts. If they have been staffed, possibly at the end, while they are winding up, they could be considered, of course, to be given certain compensations or considerations. But this one, majority of them are casual workers, which unfortunately, I will use the useless Labour Congress have not even attempted to address. How can your own citizens be exploited in such a way, in such a dehumanizing manner, and you are not coming up with any law. Even the National Assembly, the senators, of course, they have their own courts. They are being compensated or settled by these multinationals. So they remain silent and silent forever. It doesn't matter how what is meted to the workers, Nigerian citizens. My brother was working in one of the Chinese companies. He had an accident. His hands, one of his hands was almost amputated. At the end of the day, no compensation. He went to court. He brought whether the lawyer conspired with the Chinese company. At the end of the day, he was settled and nothing was paid. This is casual worker. So you have to suffer the brunt. His hand was disfigured. Just for working for a Chinese company in Nigeria, and there is no any protection, there is no any law protecting his right as citizens. And of course, within the Nigerian state, even those foreigners are more recognized, more given privileges and opportunities than even Nigerians who, by Nigeria, are those security operatives and of course, the different parastatals could not consider even the Nigerians. A Chinese man can slap Nigerian citizen working for him under slavery because what they are even paid is very destructive. Some Nigerians will connive with them, say, don't increase their salary. They're animals. So if you increase their salary, what are they doing with? Don't increase their salary. Even when the Chinese company or personnel or managers may want to improve on their welfare or salary scale, a Nigerian who happens to be a supervisor will tell them because he wants favor, useless favor, stupid favor, destructive favor that will kill him. And here with the nonsense, madness everywhere, madness, serious madness, serious madness. Join Biafra struggle. You know, Kante. Iba labor, gay labor. You know, president. You want to become president. The North are busy preparing for the exodus. The West are building their own region, preparing for exodus. Isoro Zik na agbari Kante, maricha Kante, ilakpuru n'ọnụ. Zik of Africa, Zik. What Zik of Africa? You're not Zik of your own people. The interest of your own people is not protected. Tinubu has fought for the interest of the Yorubas, though some Yorubas do not believe in his style and leadership. He may claim, of course, few of them may have benefited from his maneuverings and all that. What have you attracted to your people? Imarita Kante, Ilakbu. Nonsense. Keep deceiving yourself. And those who are fighting, who are well established in different parts of the world where they have seen that things are not working. And it's only human being that will fix whatever is not working. If Nigeria want to work, let us come to the round table and discuss the continued existence of Nigeria. It is not arrow. It is not arrow. It is not a taboo. When things are not working, what do you do? Through dialogue. But when they fail to dialogue, then they are telling you you can do otherwise. They don't care how you feel. They don't care what happens to you. Possibly they are of course, at an advantageous end. So it doesn't matter what happens to this end. It doesn't work. Life doesn't work like that. There must be considerations. There must be fairness. There must be, that humanity in us should be expressed. So you gallivanting here and there. I use the word gallivanting because I'm angry. I'm not come here to pet anybody. I know even if you want to unsubscribe, better do it now. I'm not here to mince words. I'm angry. You think jumping here and there, go and building borehole water, giving this thing, we solve the insecurity in the north? You are kidding. Giving philanthropic this thing, you go and borrow that both borehole. Islamic jihadists will take it over, not even the masses. In our borehole, in a land everywhere. You don't understand what is coming. You don't understand what is happening. And your own people are languishing, are dying. Of course, of recent, the governor of Abia State went to compensate, to commiserate with those who lost their life, the military personnel, who eventually, three of them happens to come from Abia State. I never had Peter be ndị be anyị a na-esi n'ụlọ mara mma pụwa ama. Is your money, is your this, or what does that concern me? Are you giving me? Is from that time you poker? You can spend your money, but the reality is clear. Reality begins after Jonathan has expended all the resources building Alamaji model schools. What did they pay him with? After Zeke fought for independence and all that, thinking he would be made the president or the prime minister, what did they pay him with? So these are not histories to learn from. Well, it's my elderly, is my elder. I wouldn't want to insult his person, but I'm very angry. I should stop all this nonsense. It's nonsense. Because saying them on the pages of Twitter or the space does not change anything when you don't address the fundamental reasons why this abysmal decline, why things are getting worse and worse on a daily basis. How do you expect somebody that is paid 30,000? In fact, is a suicide wage, not even a killing wage self. You might even likely survive if it's a killing wage. This is a suicide wave. You can't encourage that. Nobody encourages such. And people who are not in Nigeria, they have traveled overseas, still collecting arrears, salaries, and whatever entitlement, and you don't know. You have a system that is not coordinated, that is not managed, well managed by responsible citizens who are committed, and to integrity and accountability and what have you. This has been going on decades after decades. Even where in Nigeria, where, of course, in the administration of Buhari, a dead man was appointed as a minister. And does that come as a shock? It's quite unfortunate. So, Peter, I hope you have understood why they are leaving. So, what can you do to change it? What can you do to change it? Imatala now, You know now why they are leaving. They have passed a vote of no confidence in the Nigerian state and whatever it represents. Ịbụ Chineke na gị na-ajụ ihe ijiji eso gị na akpụ gị n'akụkụ. Now somebody will carry shit for wey people for pants. Now fly they follow. Now they stay at the ass fly. Why is this fly coming? You know that say you shit, you poop, you know, clean up yourself. And the people you are inviting flies. And you're asking why is fly following me? Why fly following you? You got your grandfather. So all these things happening, people are pointing at, some are saying confederation, some are saying regional government. They are missing it. They know that all is not well. They knew. I listened to one of the viral videos of the Minister of Abuja, FCT. He said there is unfairness, there is imbalance in the system. This is a man who is Minister of FCT under Tinubu administration. But he did not shut up when he was asked what is the state of the nation. Though he said he supported IPOB, but there was a time they sang his praise, but when he misbehaved or whatever, he was misunderstood, of course, because of the way he massacred the Igbos at Obibo and all that. Of course, when you do well, people will praise you. When you contravene, when you go wrong, they will also criticize you. You shouldn't be afraid of critics. But regardless of that, he said that Nigeria, there is imbalance in the system, and not until that is addressed, you can't move forward. You can address the system by going up and down, digging boreholes. Now you go solve people's problem. Will that create sustainable development? In the not reading crisis, insecurity, rocking the entire region. IDPs are there. I was watching it in NTA and other streams, media streams. It's quite unfortunate how what people are passing through in this country. This is internal, within. It's not an external aggression or confrontation. This is within, and it cannot be managed. And some are still living in denial. The military are losing their personnel, and of course, there are armed struggles, armed militias here and there. And you're still moving around. You want to be president. You are still, who do you want to impress? They have told you why they are leaving. If you care to know, they are leaving because Nigeria is failing. Come and tell me now. The evidence are there. They are leaving to other states, African, more little states, as you may call them. And you have not made up your mind to address why they are leaving. If Nigeria is working, they wouldn't have left. If Nigeria is considered a viable, of course, a safe haven for investment, they brought their money and they're taking it. Abandoning, of course, your workforce are creating more poverty in the land. Now, Nigeria is compared to Somalia. As the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra once projected that, once said that a day will come when Nigeria, in fact, Somalia will be a child's play to what is happening. And those days are fast approaching. With the level of poverty, hunger, criminality, of course, the privation in this land today, the state of insecurity and crime rates, the level of moral decadence will soar. We escalate. And you don't have to blame the people. There must be, human beings are created in such a way that they can adjust for survival. That is human instinct. That's why the Western worlds who understood, of course, human psychology and uh, emotions and all that, they created what is called the social security so that those people can be given reasons to leave, reasons not to go or to be discouraged going into criminality and crime and all that. But this one, you are just left on your own. No? Nigeria is just parasiting Alamanjiri system. You born a child, you give him plate, where you go. So what you can do, you have, even from the beginning, expose the person to such level of vulnerability. Anything can happen to him. That is just what is happening. Nobody cares for anybody except for the political class, who of course have the opportunity. They have the cake, and they decide who can eat the crumbs, not even the part of the cake. They decide the regions that can eat the crumbs. The cake is meant for them. And you want one Nigeria. You're parading yourself. I should be clapping for you. Well, thank you, esteemed fans. Whoever may have joined us. And for those who hit the like buttons, thank you so much for standing in for the truth. We are here to sensitize you and to deep. See? Not just the shallow waters, we deep to extrapolate what we needed to know. The public, that should be within the public domain. These are nagging issues. We can no longer deny. Denying them can't make any difference. It can't stop the destruction, the looming disaster. Thank you once again. If I've offended anyone in any regards, kindly pardon me. But you have to be blunt and very straightforward, of course, on certain occasions, so that you can push the message to anyone who cares to know. But whether you care to know or not, you cannot change it. Decide to live in denial, it's you on your own. But the truth keep on staring at us. Those things we failed to address, those things we neglected, those things we shied away, always catch up with us. And that is why Nigeria is where it is. Though who should have some up courage? Who should have confronted the status quo? So this is not how things are done. They are living in this today, endangering the unborn generation, the coming generation, the posterity of the human race. That is where my interest lies. My people do say, have this notion or this ideology that Ebe Beru go bere. That is it. Live and let us live. And when there is time to reconsider, of course, the essence of our existence or collective existence, we come and discuss it and iron it out. That doesn't stop, of course, our bilateral relationship or whatever. Of course, we might have in future, if actually there is a future, because if today is not preserved, we have lost yesterday. What we have is today to right the wrongs. But when we keep on living in denial, we have no future. That is just it. For me, having underscored what is playing out, what is going on in Nigeria, dividing Nigeria shouldn't be a bad option. In fact, that is the only way to solve the nagging issues, to address the myriad of problems bedeviling the Nigerian state, the injustice, the imbalance, the unfairness in the system. Let each regions, of course, who has shared common ideologies, of course, and belief system, let them manage themselves better. Over time, they will get to understand themselves and redefine, of course, their common existence within their regions or within the states or republic. And of course, can project whatever is, of course, importance to them or what, however they want to define their life or define their faith or whatever, of course, happens to them becomes their faith, responsibilities, and of course, challenges. They can grow and develop at their own pace. With the North having Californium, having gold, having arable lands, you can't tell me they can be poor. If the Nigeria divide and the North decides to manage themselves, they can replicate what happens in Dubai. Dubai was once a desert. Nigeria was laughing at them. If they came to borrow money in Nigeria, today they are borrowing Nigeria money. People who were deserted in the worst hazardous states, surrounded by deserts, no life there. But they transformed the desert into life. Today, everybody is running to Dubai. The government of Tinubu could also go there to borrow money. Mismanagement and misappropriations of funds. You are crying that 5 years you lost 95 trillion. The ones you have been making since, where is it? It is still the recover Abacha loot because Abacha don't die now. Those who are alive, who is recovering their loot? The likes of Babangida, Obasanjo, Abdul Salami, and endless list. Even Buhari, he has no loot. Jonathan has no loot. As far as your life, immunity covers you. Is that how to build a system, a viable system, an egalitarian society where values and principles to define the very essence of human existence? Thank you once again. I leave you with this of provoking words until I come your way in subsequent editions. Thank you once again for tuning in. Continue, of course, to watch our videos, subscribe, like, and of course, share the video, let it go viral. Turn the notification buttons so that you once we are alive, once you are live or we upload our videos, you could have a direct access to them. Once again, you can also take advantage of the YouTube partnership program to support us or via the super chat if you so wish to, of course, support us, which we will also be grateful doing that. Thank you once again. Remain blessed and have a good night rest for those who are, of course, with the same time frame with us here. And bye until we meet again in subsequent editions. Good night.